Did they make
No, no, it's pretty close, but this is going to be a race.
Look at this.
Moves out to win it. Carl Edwards bumping, dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Made to really turn around, made a Reilly's cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump Around Podcast. I'm your host, Michael D.Y., joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Joey Logano type of throwback weekend. He was the big winner for the Goodyear 400 down there in Darlington, the PD region of South Carolina. And if you're down in the PD region, if you know someone listening to this show, maybe they're not liking or sharing or subscribing, get on that. Maybe you're the person not liking or subscribing. In fact, I figured out in iTunes, it's not even subscribe anymore. It's follow. So follow us on iTunes. Bumper Up Podcast, of course, available every Monday night. Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all those places, and every Tuesday morning on YouTube. What's up, Statman Matt?
Do you know, I'll give you the first stat of the episode here. Do you know why they changed it from subscribing to following?
I have no idea.
Because subscribing connotes that you're paying for something.
Oh, that's, well, if you're paying for YouTube Premium, make sure you subscribe right here on the Bumper Run Podcast YouTube page. Of course, we do betting videos every Saturday. Matt the Statman Reilly gives you the odds going into the weekend and all the stats you need to make an educated bet. I almost won some money off of Eric Jones getting a top 10. I know Daytona Ron's disappointed in that, but fellas, how's your weekend? How's your Mother's Days?
Well, my Mother's Day was filled with me being hungover, sleeping on the couch from a rough Saturday night. But thankfully, I shot the text out there to, Happy Mother's Day, love you, little emoji with a little hearts next to it. That's all I had to offer, to my mother, which it's terrible, but she had her day with my old man. They went up to their camper, get that opened up for the season. So she had herself a nice Mother's Day, but I could have done better as the son, but I think I got off on this one.
So you didn't get her flowers or a card or anything, and then your old man put her to work opening up the cabin, probably flushing out the water lines and all that stuff, making sure the antifreeze is clean, cleaning up leaves and everything.
Taking off the dirty, greasy, moldy tarps that were over it all winter long.
What a Mother's Day for old Mrs. Dover. How about you, Matt? You have a mother to be in the household. Did you guys celebrate earlier? Or are you waiting for the baby to come? I don't know how it works when a person's pregnant.
Yeah. I didn't. I didn't get to see my mom or my stepmom for Mother's Day. We stayed down in Bloom. We're trying to prepare for the big move. So we're doing little by little when we have some free time. We had free time this weekend, so we stayed here and started on some of that stuff. But I asked Steph about a month ago, like, hey, like, do I get something for you being a prospective mother, or like what? Like, how does this work? And she like kind of hinted towards like, yeah, she kind of like wanted to like do a little celebration or something. So I kept calling it a dry run all day yesterday. Like, oh, this is a dry run for next year.
Nice.
I got her a little something, and I made her a meal and everything. So
that's good. I took my mother and my girlfriend's mother and my girlfriend out to dinner during the race, and I pulled a Statman Matt. I turned off the phone. I DVR'd the rest. I went home. I finished it, and then I turned on my phone, and I gave you guys all sorts of reactions. What a wild night in Darlington. I can't wait to break it down. But first, do you guys want to jump into the NASCAR news?
let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, we got
NASCAR news, baby.
We got two pieces of news, but I mean, one is real big in the world of Daytona Ron. Eric's his driver, Matt Kenseth, the OG driver of his, Kirk Shelmerdine, of course, the crew chief of Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Herschel McGriff have all been voted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Eric, how you feeling? First ballot Hall of Famer for Matt Kenseth.
That's awesome.
You know, I was so excited for him to, to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He kind of changed the whole landscape of the sport with his championship run and kind of, caused the brass of NASCAR to scratch their heads as far as a new point system and where they were going to go from there. So he won a ton of races, has that championship, and, just a very well-respected driver all around. And when I first chose him as my driver way back in 2011, I just chose him because I saw him on a notepad at my dad's work. R&L Carriers is who we used. He was sponsoring Kenseth, and I'm like, okay, my dad has a couple free shirts, hats, pens. I go, well, I don't know anything. He'll be my driver. And here we are, 2022, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So congrats to him, and it does make me feel good.
Well deserving. I told you the whole time that once he became a nominee, like, dude, nothing to sweat. He's going to get in. And then the day of the announcement, I think I saw some no-name on Twitter say something like, oh, the voters might keep him out because of the whole Logano incident. And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the most iconic moments in NASCAR history. Like, get out of town with that.
If he didn't win a championship and his whole career was just that, he's in the Hall of Fame.
I totally agree. And the second piece of news, in fact, Daytona Ron wearing the T-shirt of this guy, old Slick Willie Two Clocks. William Byron signed a 3-year contract extension with Hendrick. Old Slick Willie Two Clocks signing up a 3-year deal. So I'm looking forward to that. 2, 3, 4. See what I did there? Oh shit! I'm crisp on this Monday night. But what do you guys think about that? It seems Hendrick wants to keep these young guns around for a long time, sign them to long deals and everything.
I think, first of all, I apologize. My dog is in here, and if you guys can hear him, say hello to Chase the dog.
Well, it sounds like Chase the dog is really excited about Slick Willie Two Clocks. Of course, Chase is a Hendrick alum there too, so I'm sure he's happy to have the teammate locked up for another 3 years.
To kind of touch on your your question of do we think it's deserving or not? Like, I certainly do. Just look at yesterday alone. The guy should have gotten he should have been the first driver to 3 wins on the season so far. We saw it coming last year with the consistency and how good he was running, and you knew a year like this was coming. And it's well deserved.
Yeah, Rick Hendrick, he had very, very high praise when that they interviewed him about this extension that he gave Slick Willie Two Clocks, and he already touched on the success that he's already had in that car, and he is just beginning to catch his upward trajectory of where he's supposed to be, and Rick knows that. He knows that that Slick Willie Two Clocks is just scratching the surface of his NASCAR Cup career, and if this is what scratching the surface of his career looks like, look out for 10 years down the road, because he is going to be a force to reckon with. And I'm sure Chase appreciates it. I'm sure Bowman does. And I'm sure Larson does, because when you have someone of that caliber helping break down, adding to that notebook in this new next-gen car that everyone is trying to figure out, having someone like him there to add to that notebook is a special thing to have for a Cup owner.
Yeah, I feel like people like this isn't surprising that Slick Willie Two Clocks is starting to come into his own too, because I feel like people forget just how great he was in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. He came in so young and he dominated right away both of those series. So now that it's coming to fruition in the Cup Series, it's no shock whatsoever.
Yeah, and I feel like he's definitely having this breakout year in this new car. Already has 2 wins on the season. Should have had a 3rd win yesterday. I feel like the Fox booth always jinxes a driver whenever they say like, "Oh, this is the guy." Yeah, like
he admits it too. He's like, "Oh, he's like King when he was in the booth. He's like, I don't know if I want to talk about that 43 car because everyone that I bring up, something happens to him."
And then in that 3rd stage,
Bill Elliott, he's mentioned that this one's all but done.
Yeah,
and
he's
then,
like,
I think Boyer said something like, "No, we gotta talk." Like I think he was like trying to.
We got to build
like,
excitement. You don't want to give it away too soon. And sure enough, we saw an exciting last lap there too. Probably not the lap all three of us wanted to see, but it was entertaining nonetheless. Do you guys want to jump right into the weekend and get into it all?
Do it.
All right. Truck race. John Hunter Nemechek. He won. Is this his first win of the 2022 season? I thought so. The problem with these truck races, they're so spread out with the schedule. It's hard to remember from 3 weeks ago or whatever. But yeah, John Hunter Nemechek locking up, getting himself into the playoffs. Big congratulations to him. Of course, we praised him a lot. Matt or Eric, one of you guys said you watched it, but
both of us did.
Yeah, it was 3 days ago. It's hard to remember to Friday night.
Yeah, it was a good race. It was a good. All three races were good races this weekend. Darlington really put on a show, and the fact that John Hunter Nemechek won his first race of the year is mind-boggling. But this is the stretch. I think it's going to be 8 straight weeks the truck race is running, so they're going to get a nice long stretch here of consistency, and consistency is key, right? You don't run for a week or 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it might be. It's hard to get into a rhythm and into a routine, and so I think you're going to start seeing a lot of those main staples, the Ben Rhodes, the John Hunter Nemecheks of the world, really start to flex their muscles in the truck series these next couple of weeks.
And that's the hard thing with the truck series too. These guys are so young and inexperienced. So jumping in every couple weeks, it's hard to get that rhythm. So I am looking forward to seeing some nice, some rhythm building races coming up. And of course, at the end of the season, I feel like they run constantly. So it should get pretty interesting from here. How about you, Eric? Did you watch truck race? What did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was great for what I was able to stay up for. I know there was a little, there was the delay. It started, about 2 hours later than it was supposed to. And I actually forgot that it was going green, and I'm like, oh, the truck race is on. And, the parts that I saw, it was a great race. There was one last caution, and I'm like, oh, all right, there's a caution. I kind of like closed my eyes a little bit, and then that was it for me. I was out. But I did wake up and realized, because my girlfriend, she works with this lady who's best friends with Todd Bodine. Okay. And it just so happens he spun out when I was watching, had a 6 save, did a 360 right in the middle of the racetrack, didn't hit the wall or nothing, got her together down pit road, and he ended up finishing top 10. So second start back in the trucks, going for his 800th, start in the NASCAR series, which I think he said 24 others have done, and he's trying to shoot for that. And he's not just trying to start and get out there and just get them. He wants to go out there and win. And they had a little thing on him before the race. It was maybe a 5-10 minute segment about his career and what he's trying to accomplish and do. And he hooked up with Stuart Friesen, and he's part of that team with Stuart Friesen, and came over to top 10. So I was pumped to see the old onion out there running, getting a top 10.
Oh yeah. And how about the Xfinity race? You guys watch the Xfinity race? See Justin Allgaier take the win?
Same thing with me with the Xfinity race. I watched about 3/4 of it, and then I missed the end. I knew that 7 car was running well. My girlfriend at the time, she's like, ooh, that paint scheme is nice on that 7 car. I hope that car wins. And lo and behold, I woke up and 7 cars in victory lane.
Hell yeah. Good day for junior motorsports there.
So I think what happened with me is, yes, I watched the Xfinity Series race just like I watched the truck race, but I think why it seems like it was 45 weeks ago is because I watched on Saturday, I watched the Xfinity race, and that went right into the Celtics game, which went right into the Kentucky Derby, which went right into
the Penguins
game, and then which went right into the UFC fight. So it was one thing. It was once one thing ended, another thing would start on Saturday, and it was just all the way through until 1 a.m. So it feels like it was a million years ago.
It's like when you binge watch 5 episodes of a TV series and you take it all in, and then the next day someone asks you about an episode you just watched, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
All the time,
it happens
dude,
to me all the time. So it's wet noodles we got up there, a little too much booze in. over the weekend.
And every event that came up after it just kept pushing the Xfinity and the truck race further and further down into my mind. So,
well, something I know we all remember last night, Joey Logano, your pole sitter, your stage 1 winner, and of course your race winner, leading 107 laps, pushing old Willie 2 clocks, Slick Willie 2 clocks out of the way on the last lap. Your Darlington race lasted 3 hours, 21 minutes, and 32 seconds. We had 9 cautions for 47 laps, 24 lead changes among 13 different drivers. Your top 5, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Justin Haley, Kevin Harvick, and Chase Elliott rounding out the top 5. Fellas, what a race, man. What a Sunday in Darlington. I think, we'll jump right into our race grades, but I think it was one of the best Darlington races I've seen in a long, long time. How about you guys?
it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
All right, you want to jump into the race grades?
Yeah, those cars were a handful, man, and did that make for an awesome race?
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what's your grade for the weekend?
Me or Eric, who do you want to go first?
Go with Matt. Matt.
All right, I gave it an A-. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic race. I thought might have been. I think the only reason why I probably didn't give it the A+ is just because, you know, in stage 2 I was making dinner, Mother's Day dinner for Steph, so like I wasn't really. I had the tablet out in the kitchen. I had it on. I was listening to it, but I wasn't fully engaged in that second stage. So I gave it an A-. It doesn't take anything away from it. The racing was fantastic. The ending was phenomenal. Whether you like Joey Logano, whether you like William Byron, the race was phenomenal. There was passing. There was actual passing. I think I texted our buddy and listener and friend of the show, Justin Pierce, earlier in the day. I looked at the weather, and I noticed that it was going to be cool. I think it was only going to be like 60 degrees yesterday in Darlington, and it was going to be mostly cloudy, which got me nervous. You know, I was hoping, you know, that wouldn't really affect the racing, and it didn't seem like it did. That the cars were hard to handle on the Lady in Black, and we had great racing.
No, I agree. I was actually a little nervous too, because I did see that weather report. It was only 60. And even Tyler Reddick today on Sirius XM during his weekly thing with Larry Mack and Danielle Trotta, he said it was really cold when they were down there. And usually when it's cold, you don't see the tires like really wear too much and like rubber in the track. But I think Darlington is just so abrasive that it didn't even matter. And it made for one hell of a show. How about you, Eric? What was your race grade?
Yeah, I gave it just a regular old A. Those cars were a handful, and you know, you have the best stock car drivers in the world behind the wheel, and when you see them struggling, single car spinning, and just elbows out almost the entire lap, there was that bump coming out of where it was the fresh pave in the turn, and it caught Chastain off guard a couple times, and it was fun to watch the drivers struggle for once. And, you know, I was so tired of that real high downforce and just riding around on rails. And, you know, they were showing and talking about, you know, the throttle time, who's backing the corner up. You could hear them feathering that throttle around the corner to keep their car out of the wall. And, you know, it was all about managing those tires. Like you said, Whitey, how abrasive that racetrack is. It's getting so old. And every year, even Clint Boyer said, your notes could work, but the track just keeps getting worse and worse each year, which it makes for great racing. Tire fall off, throttle control, everything. We had passing battles. Once again, not that we stopped them with Fox, but I noticed quite a bit, and I'm watching the battle, and they would go away from the battle. It was the most frustrating thing in the world, but there were battles. That was great. The lead changes were there. The restarts were exciting, not for the typical reasons that restarts are exciting, where you have cars fanning out, you have cars making crazy moves. Yeah. The restarts were dangerous and exciting here because you had to nail it. If you had to make moves early in a run and get early in a run, make those positions up. If you got stuck on the bottom, you were going to get, you know, rolled by like a train at Dega and Daytona. So the restarts, it was unique, and you had to, on those low air pressures, it caused a lot of drivers some issues on low air pressure. So restarts were great. I mean, the only thing that I didn't really have for me was, the last 2 laps got interesting, but I would have liked a little better battle for the win.
Yeah.
If there was a better battle for the win, I think I would have maybe gave it that A+ grade. But I would have liked to see that battle at the end. I had strategy, I had lead changes, we had some cautions, some big cars that spun out. So overall, I thought we saw a great race on Sunday. I just wish I saw a battle for the lead, for the win.
Yeah, I agree about the battle. Especially that third stage, like, it was interesting with the different pit strategies and everything like that. But even like we alluded to, Bill Elliott said, like, oh, this one's pretty much done. Because Byron had such a massive lead. I was really surprised Logano caught up to him just to even put his bumper to him. But like you said, when it came to those restarts, like, even that top groove, when you're coming out of the corners that were repaved into those sections that were that old pavement, like, that was giving guys hell. Like, even like Ross Chastain, like, he said he was just pushing it just a little too hard, and he knew he was going to lose it as soon as he was exiting that corner. That's just how perfect you had to be executing in 1 and 2. What's up, Matt?
So you guys were talking about the age of Darlington Raceway, not the track itself, but the surface. And so while you guys were talking, I was kind of looking to see, I was curious because I know that's an older surface, how long it was repaved. The only thing that I can find was, I think the last time it was repaved was 2008. So I mean, if that's true, that's a 14-year-old surface. That's why it's eaten up those tires as much as it has. And then one thing I wanted to say is for our listeners out there, and maybe even Justin Pierce, I call him the encyclopedia of NASCAR. Somebody please tell me that there's a website out there for the age of racetrack surfaces. I would love to have that information at the ready, and I couldn't really find anything.
Yeah, someone in the comments on YouTube, let us know if there's anything like that. And if not, I feel like we need to capitalize on that. We'll go through the NASCAR archives and look for every repaving track article and put together something.
That's a good piece of information to have for
like oldest surface to newest surface.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I know Atlanta was the oldest. And now I think Auto Club is. They haven't been repaved since the 90s, I think, right? The late 90s.
I think there's a few from the 90s still. Yeah. I think you might be right, Whitey.
We'll have to do a little extra research, but if there is a great mind listening, hit us up on Twitter at @N Run Pod, or leave a comment down in the YouTube comment section. I would love to know that. But to jump into my race grade, I give it an A. We saw a lot of great battles all day long, like Eric said. The only unfortunate part of the race was a lot of great cars ended up getting wrecked out. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin finished a lap down. Even Kyle Larson with his engine problems. All those guys led a ton of laps, and that made for an interesting ending, them not being there to compete.
But I think that's what caused it to not have the battle like I would have liked. I think if those cars don't spin out and get crashed out, you have another additional 4 cars, that are up there, maybe possibly get a better battle for the win there.
No, that's true. But yeah, I loved every minute of it. Loved the controversial finish with William Byron getting pushed out of the way. I thought it was the best Darlington race I've seen since I started watching NASCAR. I thought it was that good. So yeah.
There was
10 out of 10.
I believe it. The opinions of NASCAR on Twitter made a really good point. A lot of people, the people that are getting upset about Joey wrecking William Byron out. Why aren't you upset with like William Byron giving up that giant lead that he had? Like, why not get mad at him as well? I don't know if I'm sure we're going to talk about that last couple laps, later on. But I was I have a surprising take on that. I shared it with you guys earlier. I don't know if you want to get into that now or later after we give our checkers and wreckers, but I have a surprising take on everything that went down there.
Yeah, I mean, let's jump into the checkers and wreckers, and then we could talk about the last lap incident. If it doesn't organically come up, there's just one more thing. Matt, was there a point where Chase went 3 wide with somebody?
Yes.
What was it?
He pulled off. I forget who the two.
Someone was battling, and he's like, "I'm not wasting my time.
Not wasting any more time." He dove down low, and he passed 2 cars in the same corner. It was a beautiful pass.
I think it was Christopher Bell, maybe someone.
Possibly, yeah. I think Christopher Bell was involved in that pass. It was an unbelievable pass.
When that happened, that's when I go, "This is a great race. This is an A race right there." Just some of the crazy moves, and I was really surprised with how low on the apron some of those guys were getting, entering into 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 there, because you always hear Darlington, you don't want to touch that apron because you'll shoot right up the way the progressive banking is and everything. And I feel like this car really opened up those lanes a little bit to try different things. So yeah, just a great race. But you guys want to jump into the checkers and wreckers?
Sure.
All right, Eric, how about your checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
My checkers, I gave to John Hunter Nemechek. He's been having some great runs, and finishes haven't been there for him. Up there dominating races and having some trouble. So it was good to see him get that win in that truck. But the reason I gave him my checkers for the weekend was because he also hopped into the number 26 San Hunt mobile in the Xfinity series, and he came home 4th.
Yeah.
And, he ran 5 races for Sam Hunt in the Xfinity Series 26 car, and 3 out of the 5, he got a top 5. So he's not only performing in the trucks against some of those veterans and also the new up-and-coming drivers, he's getting a shot in the Xfinity, and he's running well in Xfinity Series against the next talent, the Gregson, the Ty Gibbs of the world, who we talk about every week as making the next jump to Cup. He is now getting back into the Xfinity. He's taking that route that we've been talking about. And I did see today he also is going to be running 3 races, I think, with Gibbs.
Okay.
And so he's getting his opportunities where he can take them. And I know we say this a ton, but I just got to give him credit for the move he made. So good for him this weekend, finally getting that win and in the Xfinity Series, really showing these Cup teams that he has the drive. He's learned from this experience going down and now climbing the ladder back up. And I think you'll have some eyes on him come next year for a Cup ride.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all last season, just John Hunter Nemechek jumping out of Cup, going back down to trucks, and what a great move it was. And you're right, he's really seizing the opportunities he has, especially running those Xfinity races when he can. And he's definitely elevating Sam Hunt Racing whenever he jumps into that car. They seem to perform really well. So just a natural talent. I agree with that, Checkers. How about your wreckers for the weekend?
My wreckers goes to the 22.
All right, let's get into it.
I'm wrecking him for just not attempting to make a clean pass. He didn't even try to race him at the end. I think he bumped him on lap with 2 to go. There was still a full another lap to go. On that 2 to go, when he was catching him, like William Byron said, he was faster. He wore out his right rear, I think he said, of his car. That's why Joey caught him. Yeah. He's like, man, I really just wore out that right rear of my car, and I knew he was going to catch me. He even at me, he goes, I wish he just tried to get to my quarter panel and the inside of me, take the air away. Just attempt a real racing pass there with 2 to go.
No, he just straight up slammed into the back.
He just straight up, and like Slick Willie 2 Clock said, he didn't even try to make the turn. He used the 24 car to slow him down. He overdrove the turn. Make a pass. I get it. I could see it. It is from both sides, but I'm not wrecking him for just, the move like everyone else would say, get all upset for. But I just think he should have at least attempted a racing move to pass him. Too many times have we seen him in that position just go for the wreck. And, to me, it just seemed like he admitted it afterward that he's like, from Martinsville, he's like, he goes, I could have won there if I shoved them a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So
no,
here he is
did.
again, and he's like, has an opportunity, and he shoved them a little bit harder for the win. And to me, it just seems like that's how he gets those wins. Instead of racing for it and trying for it, I know winning is a lot in the sport, and NASCAR puts a lot of emphasis and priority on getting wins. And, I would have liked to see him make a racing attempt at the end.
It reminded me a lot of Kansas and Matt Kenseth, just not even attempting to win the race cleanly. Just, I'm going to take him out just to do it, and that's, No, I hear you. But Matt, I mean, you said you wanted to get into it.
Yeah. So. I was, so when it first happened, just to give the listeners I don't think Chase is even going to like my take here. I don't even know if I like my take, but I don't know why I feel the way I do. So let me get into it. So when it first happened, I was like, typical scumbag Logano.
Yeah.
Why, it was just, of course. And I agree with what Eric's saying as far as like, why didn't he at least make an attempt at getting around him? Why did he slam into the back of him? Why did he misjudge that turn? I get all that part of it, and I'm not cool with that part of it. What I am cool with, though, is the fact that he used his bumper to move him up out of the way. Maybe he didn't execute it the way that some of us wanted him to, but he went for it. And at the end of the day, a guy who hasn't won since the Bristol dirt race of last year, a guy who's used to winning, a guy who wants to win. I mean, everyone wants to win, but a guy who's used to winning so much and he's not winning as much as he used to, I'm sure that can get to him. And so he did what he had to do to win the race. I mean, I guess you can say he didn't because he could have tried to get around him, but maybe he couldn't get around him. Maybe that was, his best opportunity in his mind to win the race, and he went for it and he took it. And I'm okay with it for this reason and this reason only, because this isn't his third or fourth or fifth win of the year. This is his first win of the year. This system, this playoff system, this win-in mentality that NASCAR has created has forced some of these guys to be a little bit more aggressive. I also think I'm okay with it because I'm trying to not be hypocritical with the way I look at things. And if that was Chase in that exact situation where he hadn't won in a while, he moved somebody out of the way to go get it, and he got his win any way he could, I would have been okay with it. So just because it's Logano, I'm not gonna trash talk him as much as I want to, as much as I dislike him. I don't know why I feel this way about this instance, but I know I'm applying a little bit of nuance, but I'm okay with it.
I feel the same way because when it first happened, I actually defended the 22.
You did.
In our text
I
message.
was surprised to see that. I couldn't believe it.
But that was my initial reaction, was that Willie B brake checked the shit out of the 22. Yeah. When in all reality, in the moment, I didn't get it. I'm like, wait a minute.
He just drove through them.
They're on older tires. Willie B's like, wait a minute. There's no way you're driving that fast with the run that they're on old tire wise into that turn. And once he kind of put it in that situation, in that scenario, it kind of changed my perspective a little bit on how it all went down. To me, if this is anybody else, I think people are going nuts in excitement. Yes, hell yeah. And this goes back to our Pick a Lane segment from last week.
I was going to bring this up.
Where is it because it's Joey Logano that everyone is upset? And I'm going to say yes, because he's known for doing it. He's known for making shithead moves like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to get mad because it's someone that does it all the time. Now, if this is Chase Briscoe, for instance, going for a win, and he's there and he bumps William Byron out of the way, I don't think people have as bad of a reaction. I think it comes down to a Reddick and a Briscoe thing. At Bristol Dirt, both people fighting. They want that win. They're going for it. Two drivers that are trying to make it up. Okay, I could see that. I just think, to our point last week, Logano's a driver. He's a champion. He has a status of doing stuff like that. So I think people criticize him a little more for that move. I think the move was perfectly fine if that's the way you want to race.
Yeah.
If that's the type of driver you want to be, by all means, go ahead, be aggressive, hit people for wins. But, the sweater, you better wear it. And I think sometimes Joey can't wear it. He wants to rip those sleeves off of that sweater that he sewed. And I'm sorry, you just can't do that. But, like Chastain's aggressive. And I'm sure a lot of people are upset with the way that he drives. And I mentioned after, the Dega race with Larson, how he made a shit move and slammed the 45. And, he's been known at end of races to make some slams and bad blocks and shit too. Because he's Kyle Larson, I think people overlook
give him
it
a pass.
and give him a pass. So I do kind of think it does matter who's that driver getting bumped. And I think it does matter the driver doing the bumping. I don't hate the move because if that's who you want to be as a driver, by all means, that's you. But you don't want to be that type of driver come playoffs. That's all I have to say.
No, that's the thing. And I can't believe we're all defending Joey Logano here, but I'm going to defend them too. A lot of drivers and a lot of fans say they want their driver to go, man, I'll go out, I'll wreck my mother for that win, Joey Logano's the guy that's going to do it, and he's always been the guy that's going to do it. And he's going to be the guy that continues to do it because like you said, Eric, he does reap what he sows. He wants to drive like that. And he doesn't mind when people drive him like that. He might complain about it, but it's all deserved. And
that's the only thing. Like if you are going to be like that, I wish Chase drove like that more often, to be honest with you, more aggressively.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like, then you can't be the guy who also complains when people drive you like that. You have to be okay with it. You have to understand that. Yeah, like Joey has to understand that, like, he has one coming his way now from Slick Willie. Like, Slick Willie owes him one, and Joey has to be okay with that now. He got his win. He put the bumper to him. He got his win. Now when it comes time to reverse the roles and Slick Willie Two Clocks does it to Joey can't go swinging at him after the race because he did it.
Yeah. And like we alluded to last week, we talked about on the Pickle Lanes. If you missed last week's episode, head on back and check it out because I think it's definitely worth checking out. I feel like Joey Logano does have that double standard against him because, he's so aggressive and because he pulls these moves all the time. People are going to hate on him for it when, Ross Chastain's just as aggressive and he'll pull those same moves. But because it's Ross Chastain, people tend to let it go. Like you said, if Chase did that same move, you'd be excited about it.
I think it's the way Logano handles himself in those interviews, though, too. He comes off so smug after he makes a move like that. When Chastain, maybe he'll admit that he maybe fucked up a little bit and shouldn't have done that.
Too deep
Logano won't even do that. He automatically, when he got interviewed, he went to, he
shouldn't
okay
have
for him
done
to put me in the wall.
Yeah,
and it's like, so it's fine. But I wanted to ask you guys because Joey goes, that was retaliation, dude. The incident that he's talking about was what happened on every single fucking lap of that race.
Oh yeah,
it happened every lap.
That
he
was the part I disagreed with.
And I'm like, Logano, you use that as an excuse to dump somebody for a win. That to me was like pre-planned in his head. Like, well, he kind of shoved me into the wall. Guess what? Everybody did that every lap of the race. So what are you complaining about?
That's the racetrack.
Right. He basically just said, I was going to dump him for the win no matter what. And
he
admitted it. And it's like,
he used that as his reasoning behind why he shoved him out of the way. That's all that was.
Oh, right. And it's like, dude, that happened every lap of the race.
No, it's just, it's Joey Logano.
Right.
What did Kyle Busch say about him last year? He's two-faced. He's out on the track and he's just,
Well, dude, I want to bring this
angry
up,
and aggressive, and then he gets off the track and he's all smiles. It's like, I don't know, I'm just racing. What can I say?
I don't know if you caught the video of Ryan Blaney congratulating him as a teammate.
Yeah. So
he looked like he did not want to congratulate him at all. Like he had to do that because he was a teammate. Like It was the most awkward go up, like dap up, like good job. And as soon as he turned around, he had a smile, a fake smile, and it just went
completely
right.
Solid.
Completely,
yeah. I'm looking it up right now.
It was like you could tell he did not want to go over and hug him.
So I was talking to our buddy Jay today, and he brought that up, and he made a point that I forgot about, that Blaney's sister is dating William Byron. Yeah. So, you know, Blaney's going to go home, and I'm sure he's going to hear about all about that, you know, like it's causing him personal strife in his personal life, you know. But yeah, if you go on Twitter, you can find that clip. It's really funny because Logano's celebrating. Ryan Blaney goes up, smiles, gives him a hug, turns around, stone face, like walks off. I can't
find it, but that's funny.
All right, Matt, how about you? What's your checkers and records for the weekend?
So my checkers goes to two best friends, two notorious best friends out on the racetrack, Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott.
Okay.
I'm giving my checkers to them because both of those guys started at the back. Both had problems during practice, had to go to backup cars. Or no, I don't think Harvick had to go to a backup car, but he had to fix the diffuser on the bottom of the car.
Yeah.
So he didn't
unapproved
qualify,
adjustment.
At the back. And both of those guys finished in the top 5. Yet again, proving my point that I don't really put too much stock into qualifying. I don't know if that's the Earnhardt fan in me because
I think it might be.
Never put stock into qualifying. He would always qualify like mid to high teens, and then he would go and finish in the top 10, top 5. So I don't know if that's why I don't put stock into it, but
or could it be the new car right now where it's not as hard to pass as it was? Where like if you get stuck in that dirty air and you're kind of just stuck in the middle of the pack, it doesn't seem to affect guys as much as it has in the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, well, Chase even said that in one of his post-race interviews. He said, we were all kind of the same yesterday. It was kind of hard to pass and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, it took him a while to get up. It took him all the way to the end of the race to crack the top 10.
Yeah,
But once he got there, like he stayed there, So, and the same with Harvick, it was just a slow grind, just like he's been doing every single race, a slow grind. He was in the mid-teens. I was watching him because I picked him.
Yeah.
So I was watching Harvick throughout the race, and it was like he was moving up a position every maybe, 30, 40 laps. He'd move up a position. He'd move up a position. Then finally they both finished in the top 5. So it was cool to see.
How about your records? What was your records for the weekend?
So my records is, I'm sorry, I have an unruly dog right now. I'm on babysitting duty with this little guy. So my checkers goes to the situation with Kyle Busch leaving his car on the track, but it doesn't necessarily go towards my records. Doesn't necessarily go towards Kyle Busch in particular.
Yeah.
Because candidly, I thought it was actually hilarious that he did
thought
that.
It was great. I loved it.
Absolutely hilarious.
I loved it.
The guy just stopped his car in the middle of pit road and said, "I'm out of here. I'm done."
Yeah.
And when it happened, I absolutely lost my mind. I go, oh my God. I instantly knew, Jay is going to have a field day with this. And not 2 seconds later, he sent me a Snapchat dying laughing. And I'll tell you what, it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
It was hilarious. And I think he did it because if you guys remember last year.
He got fined last year.
He busted through those cones.
Yeah.
I think I even wrecked him for this race last year.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And so I think in his mind, he was being a smartass. My day is done. I don't care. So I'm, and I know I got yelled at and criticized for busting through these cones last year. So I'm just going to leave my car right here in the middle of pit road.
You can't make the turn.
And I don't know, though. That attitude, is he setting an awful example for his kid? Is he setting an awful example for young kids everywhere? Sure he is. But, on the other hand, it's also hilarious.
My favorite part was the broadcast team. I think Clint Boyer was saying it as he walked into his hall. It's like, he's still going to have to go to the infield care center. So someone's going to be knocking on that door, and he's not going to be happy about it. So I thought that was absolutely hysterical.
I'll tell you what, he got really NASCAR-y and really told the line up there. And he's like, come on, like that's there's an extra caution that shouldn't happen or a couple laps. Like, come on, Kyle, you could have got that car at least behind the wall. Like he was really defending, or actually not defending Kyle Busch in that situation.
I was surprised. Clint was not happy about it.
No.
So I mean, it makes sense too.
About it. And like all I kept thinking was like their boys race like during the week. If you watch some of Kyle Busch's videos that he releases with Brexton, Clint is at a lot of those races because his son Cash races. So they see each other what seems like quite a bit away from the big racetracks. So like I'm thinking to myself, like I wonder if he's just saying this to kind of be politically correct or or what? I think
he was towing the NASCAR line.
Yeah,
I think for sure.
Clint Bowyer has one of the best senses of humor in the NASCAR industry. You've got to think in his mind, he probably thought it was hilarious.
You could hear the voice change though, like the tone in his voice got kind of serious, where he's like, "Yeah, I don't really like that too much," but definitely entertaining nonetheless. I thought it was great.
That's why we have Kyle Busch in this sport, for moments like that. That's why I love Kyle Busch, because he gives us those.
I might think he makes some boat-headed decisions, but like at the end of the day, I told you guys, I'm learning to appreciate the hell out of him because it's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's also embarrassing kind of for him because he does throw temper tantrums. He does act like a child from time to time, but like it's also hilarious.
Even my mother was talking about it. So if it got a older woman who doesn't watch NASCAR talking about Kyle Busch and NASCAR, I think that's a plus. I don't care if it was a kind of egregious move. I'll jump into my checkers and records as Matt tries to rile his dog up. Kurt Busch is
we're good. Steph is home. We're good.
All right,
sorry
nice.
About that,
that's okay. That's okay. Hey man, you're a dog dad. Soon you're gonna be a real dad, and that's when you have to teach the dog how to watch the kid while you do the podcast. But no, my checkers goes to the other Busch brother, Kurt Busch's pit crew for stopping the car from leaving the pit box without the tire. Huge save on their part, especially after last week watching Denny Hamlin take off without that lug nut. I don't know if Kurt really would have gotten too far out of the pit box anyways.
That guy dove himself onto Kurt's car to make sure that he didn't leave pit road.
And all I could think is like, what if he still took off? You know, like sometimes like when those drivers put it down, they mash the gas, they're going, you know, so really risking his life and limb on that one. But
that's a guy I want on my team, though.
Absolutely.
If that guy doesn't have a plaque of employee of the fucking week on the wall back at the race shop, something's wrong there. He risked it all for that tire.
No, for real.
Well, he would have been the one who was suspended too. He's probably thinking, like, I don't want to stay home for 4 weeks.
Yeah, because he's listed as the rear tire changer. You know, they're doing that weird choreograph shit, and he's like, I don't want to get fucked on this one. I got bills to pay. I got kids to feed. But my records for the weekend, we touched on John Hunter Nemechek. I got to give it to the beer can guy that threw a beer at him and Jamie Little on the front stretch there. Yeah. Just a really, just a shitty thing to do. Classless, to be honest with you. And we have a great thing with NASCAR and them allowing, like the tracks allowing us to bring coolers in, allowing to bring our own drinks and beer and food. For the most of them, even speaking of the one last year that caused a big stir, Texas Motor Speedway. If you remember, that was a big Twitter thing, them not bringing coolers in. I hear it on the commercials now. Coolers now allowed. So I think SMI learned their lesson. They're allowing coolers, but then some guy throws a coolers at John Hunter Nemechek, and it can ruin the whole damn thing for all of us. And you know, that's the great thing. That's what I love about NASCAR is it is very, you know, pocketbook friendly. It's family friendly where you could buy a 4-pack of family tickets. Usually tickets for kids are like $10 on top of your regular ticket price. And then you could bring a cooler full of sandwiches and sodas and waters and drinks and not, you know, break the bank when you go think about the running joke. You go to a movie and you spend $30 on popcorn. You go to the baseball field, you spend $30 on a single beer or whatever. NASCAR, you could do that, but you don't have to. And I think that's the great thing. And just asshole guys throwing shit at people just doing their jobs. The person that won the race. I don't care what you think about the person. And I know we've seen it in the past. We brought it up during the NASCAR history a couple weeks ago, them pelting Jeff Gordon's car with beers at Talladega, but he was in the car. He was protected. Like, these people are standing out there and I don't know. I just thought it was
Jamie
shitty.
Little too, doing the interview. You know what I mean? She's standing there next to him too.
Guys.
Yeah, like that's just such a bonehead thing to do. And, we talk about it a lot, emotions of drivers getting out of their car and being in the moment and reacting emotionally. But as a fan, there's no excuse for any kind of emotion or reacting in that way at all. That kind of stuff has to stop yesterday.
Yeah.
All three of us, I like to think that we all have a really good sense of humor. We like to find the funny in just about everything. And I, just to be serious for a second, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I've never once, but dude, look at the three of us. We like to have fun. Like, we've gotten really drunk at races before. Never once was I in a state of mind at a race where I thought to myself, I'm going to start throwing shit down.
Right.
Yeah.
Never once even crossed my mind. I don't understand what goes through some of these people's heads. And it's uncalled for. So that guy is going to be not allowed at racetracks ever again. He's going to be blackballed by NASCAR.
He was caught by security too. So they did have the guy.
There's cameras everywhere. They're going to catch you. I don't know. He's got to be lucky that it's not counted as a assault, because it could be, especially if he hits them.
Like, we've been dogging Joey Logano all podcast and pretty much since this podcast started. But if Joey Logano wrecked Tyler Reddick for the win and I'm in the stands and Joey Logano gets out and he points to the stand, he goes, "Hey, Michael D. Whitey, fuck you and fuck your mother," I'm still not going to throw a beer can at him.
Right.
I'm going to tweet some shit at him, but I'm not going to throw a beer can at him. The only thing at a racetrack you're allowed to throw is the double bird, baby.
Because that's the only thing. If the driver goes by, I'll throw the double bird out there.
Yeah,
I'll get a little angry and yell some shit. But the only thing I'm throwing is the bird.
Yeah. But if that was an unopened beer too, you could tell by the way it hit the back of the truck.
It hit hard.
Yeah.
That thing was unopened. Yeah. If that hits Jamie Little and knocks her out, it's assault at that point.
I mean, you could break an orbital, you could get concussed.
And to your point, Whitey, if you have to buy a beer at the racetrack, you're not going to throw a $30 pounder and waste that beer. I'm not. I ain't wasting a $30 pounder I just bought, throwing it at a race car driver. I'm slugging that.
I hate forgetting about a beer and the little bit at the bottom gets warm and I have to pour it out. That breaks my heart, let alone a full beer. Get out of here. No way.
Yeah, so that guy's an asshole. If you're a race fan, don't even think about doing that stuff.
Get him out of here. But that's all I have for my checkers and wreckers. You guys kind of want to go through the race notes here? We got, of course, first place, Joey Logano. Led 107 laps, super fast car all day long. If I didn't see the end and I just saw the most part, and then I'm like, oh, Joey Logano won, I would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. No controversy there,
See, that's the part that irritates me. He keeps people hating on him for doing that shit. I was thinking that in my own head. I'm like, okay, I'm setting my fantasy lineup. Logano had a good car in practice, qualified on the pole, ran up front all day.
Yeah.
Why do that move? If he doesn't do that move, I respect
it's
the
much
day
more
that he
respectable.
had.
Yeah. No,
exactly.
For real.
It's like he does it to himself. And that's the part that I don't want to hate him. I want to let that go. But he just keeps on doing shit to keep that hatred there. I wish, because he did have a great day.
The only thing that could have made it better though is if he wrecked himself while wrecking William Byron. Yeah. And then that number 8 car, Tyler Reddick, just drove on by and stole that win. Another second place finish for Reddick. Led 10 laps.
I'm happy you said that. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
So I knew you had Mother's Day dinner.
So
I didn't know you shut your phone off, which was a smart move.
Yeah.
Because all I'm thinking to myself was Logano's going to wreck Byron here. Reddick's going to win, and Whitey's going to flip the table at whatever restaurant he's at.
So here's because I didn't want any spoilers or anything. Just in case Reddick did get his first win, I wanted to be able to enjoy it organically, you know. So I turned off the phone, but I did accidentally turn it back on, and I did catch out of the corner of my eye. It was a text message from you, and I want to read it. It goes, Whitey, how much do you love your mom? And I saw Reddick's second and a restart, just those words. And I instantly turned it off. I'm like, all right, well, let's see where this goes. Let's see what happens, you know? So then of course, you know, he was leading, and then there was the vibrations and everything. So that all happened. I was like, okay, this is making more sense, but like, who knows what's going to happen. So I'm still watching it. I'm enjoying it, but yeah, put him on a different pit strategy from tire vibrations. He was trying to 3-stop it or 2-stop the third stage, split into thirds. And then, of course, the caution came out, and you know, the last couple weeks, you know, you tend to start blaming people. You know, we watched it with Chase fans for the last couple weeks now. They were calling for Alan Gustafson's head. I never got like that with Randall Burnett, but there was certain moments where I'm like, man, I don't know, maybe Randall isn't that great of a crew chief. You know, maybe he isn't, you know, giving them the best car setups and all that stuff. And then yesterday, as I'm watching him lead, and that caution comes out, he's got those fresh tires. I'm like, yes, I'm silent freaking. I'm like, yes, this is why Randall's the crew chief. It's calls like this. He's thinking outside the box. He's not afraid to make a weird call to try to get a car that's not performing where it should be up to the front anyways. He used to do that in the Xfinity series, and I'm loving seeing it here. So I'm like, yes, that's fucking Randall. Hell yeah. So I was excited with the second place finish, especially after the last couple weeks.
As you were yelling about Randall Burnett, and
you're
were pumped,
screaming.
I'm cursing him out at my house. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You ruined, because like with that call, there were some other takers. Reddick wasn't the only one. When Reddick pit, everyone else kind of was like, what are they doing? But I think maybe 4 or 5 other cars.
Harvick pitted. There's 2 other cars on that strategy too, and I can't remember.
Pitted. I think there was a couple cars, and I'm like, no, because then that put Eric Jones, who was running 6th to 8th all day, it put him in like 13th.
And he was running great too.
And he was running great all day at a top 10, easy top 10. And then I'm like, no, that strategy.
Was Haley on that strategy?
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did he get up there?
He was on that strategy too. So that caution came out, put a couple of guys up front that didn't have the fastest cars. Justin Haley had a decent car though all day long. I don't know what the loop data shows, but he was moving his way up throughout the day too. And that's what I was gonna say too. Just really impressed by his third place finish. Good for him, starting 29th. And then Kevin Harvick, he didn't get any stage points. He hovered around the top 15, though, after starting in the back. And he's been putting together a lot of great runs. Of course, like we said, he was also on that different tire strategy. But yeah, I really felt bad for Eric Jones, who was running in the top 10 all day long, absolutely killing it until, you know, Martin Truex Jr. got put 3 in the middle, 3 wide, and just caused that big one. A lot of guys got taken out during that one. Kurt Busch, Cole Custer, Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, and Blaney were involved. Briscoe and Blaney still managed to finish on the lead lap, but their cars weren't the same after that. So yeah, just really unfortunate with that one. Another guy that struggled, Denny Hamlin, led 42 laps, and then he finished the lap down. Just more bad luck for Denny. Kyle Busch, we talked about. He got into it. Brad Keselowski ended his day. And Ross Chastain kind of spinning out on himself. Led 26 laps. Another great day for Ross Chastain. I'm telling you, man, he's a contender, you know?
Like a real contender.
Like a real contender. I feel like he's a championship 4 contender right now. How about you guys?
I think. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say I agree. I was gonna give some loop data for Justin Haley to tie that bow up. So go ahead and I'll do that.
Yeah, Clint Boyer, I think it was in the booth, might have even said it. He's like, okay, Ross, he's running good. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not fully committed to saying he's got what it takes to be a contender. And he even admitted, he goes, he has 6 top 3 finishes this year.
Yeah.
And, that's not by accident.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think even the personalities in the booth and these drivers, these veterans, they're actually acknowledging him as a contender now. And then, like you, Whitey, so am I.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to pat ourselves on the back, guys. Pat ourselves on the back, because I feel like a lot of NASCAR media isn't on these guys as quickly as we are. Like we were on William Byron last year. Like, oh, William Byron's doing really well. We were calling William Byron doing really well in the beginning of this season.
Trackhouse, colleague racing. We were on top of all of that.
We called Trackhouse being a contender this year. If you go back to our preseason episode where we bought and sold, I think we were all buying Ross Chastain, especially after those runs at the end of the year last year in Ganassi equipment. And man, Trackhouse just killing it. Daniel Suarez also doing really well, but struggling at the same time. I feel like once he figures it out, though, he's going to be a threat too.
Yeah, his finishes aren't there, but he runs well during the race. He kind of came back at the end. He was running inside the top 10, and he's putting races together, and kind of similar to Eric Jones, just can't seem to get that consistency of finishes every week. Seems to have a good week here and there, and then something goes wrong, and he gets a real shitty finish, for 2 weeks, then comes back with a solid run. So, if he finds the consistency that his teammate Ross Chastain has, man, that team in general, look out.
Oh, yeah. And Suarez still got a top 10th place finish this weekend. So great run for those guys up until Ross, of course, spun out. But, Matt, how about that Justin Haley loop data? Well, how many quality passes did he have? Just curious.
Dude, honestly, he 10 quality passes, which
That's
is lead lap passes against someone in the top 15, I believe is the stat. So, honestly, like, I'm looking at his loop data, like, they just had a hell of a strategy going. Like, they just got lucky.
Yeah, it was that tire strategy at the end, third stage.
His average running position was 21st, which is not great.
See, that pisses me off so much, dude. Like, I can't stand that. I can't stand that.
What, the average running position?
No, just like how when someone running 21st all fucking day comes out with a top 5 finish like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's so frustrating because of one stupid strategy call, and then you go for it, and they got the caution. It's just like when a race works out great for somebody, and I'm on the losing end of it, it sucks, man, being on that losing end.
It gets worse, though. Like, it really was like strategy. Like, he did not have a third place car. He only 16% of his laps were in the top 15, and it was the last 47 laps of the race that he was in the top 15, and that's it. It was just that last run. He just got put in a good position. Kudos to him. I'm not trying to hate on Justin Haley. I like Justin Haley. He did keep his position once he got put up there, but he probably had no business.
He didn't have the car to pass, though.
Yeah.
But
that's part of NASCAR. Strategy is part of NASCAR. That's why I like certain races. Richmond, strategy. So I hate it when I'm on the losing end.
Dude, and then his driver rating was 72.7, which is like not great. It's like below average, I would say, or maybe just about average.
Yeah.
So
I tell you who did earn their top 5 finish. Chase Elliott, starting from the back in a backup car, just working his way up all day long here and there for a quality finish there. Christopher Bell, too, I thought he had another great day. I feel like Christopher Bell's kind of coming into his own. He's not having that breakout year just yet, but the glimmer and hope is there. He's running consistent in the top 10. Maybe the finishes don't show the runs here and there, but yeah, just solid top 10 in points right now. I was surprised. Christopher Bell's really kind of getting it, I feel like, even if the wins aren't there yet.
Christopher Bell's JGR Cup career looks familiar.
It's because it's Eric Jones's career, yeah.
It's because it's Eric Jones's Cup career with JGR.
Do you have that thing I sent you?
The same stats. I should have pulled it up before I mentioned it, but yeah. Let me see here.
Here, I have it right here. So Eric Jones and Christopher Bell, full-time starts in the number 20. Eric Jones had 108 races, 2 wins, which is 1.8%, 28 top 5s, which is 26%, and 48 top 10s, which is 44%. Christopher Bell has 1 win, which is 2%, so really close to 1.8% that Eric Jones had. His top 5s is 9, which is 18%, compared to Jones's 26%, and he had 22 top 10s, which is 45% of his starts, compared to Jones's 44% of the starts. So I feel like that 20 car is just it's performing like the 20 car. I don't know. I don't know what it is about that fourth team and fourth teams in general. You know, we tend to see it with bigger Cup teams like Stuart Haas. You know, where's Cole Custer at? You know, can we call him a bust at this point?
Christopher Bell better watch his back because Joe Gibbs has proven that those numbers just aren't good enough.
Oh yeah, no, they'll get rid of you real quick, and he doesn't have a whole lot of money behind him either. It is a shame
because Eric Jones is proving that he's a top 10 talent in the Cup Series.
The problem with that fourth car, they just don't allow guys to develop in it. You know, it's they don't invest the time because that Toyota pipeline, there's a lot of drivers in it, or at least there was, and they wanted to push them through really quick, and there's not many spots because, again, Toyota's really selective on who they put in the Cup, like how many Cup teams they have. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it, but I was happy to see Bell get a 6th place finish there. Another person I was surprised by, I gave him my checkers last week. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., another top 10 finish, pulled off an 8th place run. I feel like he was in the top 10 for a lot of the day. I'm not sure how he got there, whether it was through strategy or not. He came up on my radar. I was like, oh, there's Ricky. Hey, Ricky, how you doing? So another solid run for him, what he needed after some abysmal runs the last couple weeks. And let's see. Oh, Larson blew a motor. That's the last of the strugglers. I split it up. I had the top 6 and some people of note that I thought did really well, and then all the strugglers like Denny, Martin Truex Jr. wrecking the field.
May as well be permanent. You might as well tattoo Brad Keselowski's name under struggling.
Man, honestly, so I was thinking about this this morning as I was getting ready for work, just thinking about Brad Keselowski in that 6 car. They should have just kept Newman in there. And it had Brad just focus on ownership, and nobody would have noticed because nobody was expecting anything really from Ryan Newman at this point in his career. But we have expectations of Brad Keselowski. We expect him to be
real high expectations.
Yeah. You thought he was going to be a championship contender and bring Roush up to prominence again. You know, we have those expectations of Brad Keselowski, and it's just not happening. Even before the points penalty and stuff like, where would he be with 100 extra points right now? I'll have to check, but
I'll do it. You keep talking. I'll do it right now because I'm curious.
The Brad Keselowski wreck, it also irritated me because he took out one of the great cars of the day with Kyle Busch. I mean, you know, wrong place.
He would be in 18th place right now.
Not Brad's fault, but I would have loved to see Kyle Busch at the end of that race battling too. So he took out a great car, and it was just like, man, he smacked that wall pretty good, Brad, when he hit.
I tell you what, though.
He'd be in 19th place right next to his teammate Chris Buescher. So maybe it's not a Brad thing. Maybe it's more or less an RFK thing at this point. But but again, the high expectations that we have for Brad, the guy's a champion in our sport. He was just a year ago somebody who you could throw in a fantasy lineup or throw in a daily fantasy lineup, and it would be a good quality pick. And now, like, I probably will not touch Brad the rest of the year unless I have to.
Speaking of fantasy, I was actually really glad he did take out Kyle Busch because I was watching Kyle in practice. He was super fast in practice, and I was going to play him in fantasy, and I didn't just in case he had to leave the race early since he was on baby standby and everything. And through the first half of that race, I was really regretting that decision because he was running up front, leading laps. I'm like, man, if Kyle Busch wins this race, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. And then he got taken out. I'm like, yes, thank you. Didn't waste a play on Kyle Busch. I swapped him for Kurt Busch. He got me 6 points because of that wreck. So it really didn't help, but you know.
Yo, if you didn't know about the 100-point penalty to Brad Keselowski and you just looked at the standings, Brad Keselowski is sitting comfortably in between Corey LaJoie and Cody Ware in points right now.
That's insane.
That's just sad. Almost as sad as the last place driver. Do you guys have anything else to add to this race weekend? I feel like we've kind of exhausted things along. Here on the Bumper Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner, Joey Logano. We also like to talk about the loser, the person that came in last place. And this week it was one Kyle Larson, your defending champion, had motor issues after spinning earlier in the day. Now, during his post-race interview, he said the team was telling him it wasn't because he spun it backwards. But I guess one of the issues with this new car, they have a different drive assembly with the gearbox. It's a sequential shifter, which means, you know, you just push it forward first, second, third, fourth, pull it back to shift down to gears. It's not like the old H pattern shifter where you could just throw it into neutral as you're spinning backwards. And it causes some issues with the transaxle spinning the wrong direction. Yep. Yeah. And it can break some things in the motor. They're saying that probably wasn't an issue in his spin, but I thought it was something interesting to take note of for the future. What'd you guys think about that?
Well, made me nervous.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what I mean? Like with how these new tires on this car, you have to keep your car rolling or else you're going to be a sitting duck. So they kind of have to try to keep the car up and going forward. And if just I mean, he didn't go backwards all that much on the replay.
Yeah.
And if they say it wasn't a problem, what is the, you know, I bet you other drivers are a little nervous after that spin there to, you know, blow up their engine if they spin. So it might be one thing to keep our eye on coming forward.
I tell you what, though, before this next gen debuted and everything, or maybe it was the week after, and we were having some issues. I said it could be really interesting watching parts failures and stuff, adding a different element to the race. And it's always exciting when it's not your guy. And you want to know what? I thought it was really interesting to see Kyle Larson, who was running up front, all of a sudden the engine blows. Like, it kind of adds a new element to watching these races. Sucked for my fantasy day because I had to throw him into the garage because he had a really good car in practice. But I'm kind of enjoying watching, you know, catastrophic failures. It's something we haven't had in NASCAR in a long time. Are you guys feeling what I'm feeling, or?
Yeah, it kind of goes to what I said before. It's great when a certain situation, whether it be a parts failure, a shitbag move, if you're on the right side of it, it's different from when you're on the bad side of it. And, you know, like you said, Whitey, wasn't my guy that blew his engine, so you can find a little bit of, you know, interesting facts in and go dive a little bit deeper into it, because if it's your driver, I'm too upset to go looking at all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like a couple of weeks ago when the ECR engines were all failing, and it was like, you know, if you knew your driver
like,
had
who's
ECR
next?
engine, it's like, is my guy next?
Oh, yeah.
And it adds that added layer of like, is it going to happen this lap? Is it going to happen this lap? And it adds a little bit of the anxiety and the stress to the sport that you're watching. And yeah, I mean, it does definitely add a different level.
I believe this was also his fifth did not finish DNF, which is crazy to think about. Kyle Larson's dominance last year and just struggling this year while still putting up good performances when he's finishing a race, he's finishing it really well. It's just,
that's what I'm excited for the playoffs. Something like this craziness is going to happen.
It's going to throw a wrench right into it.
Yep.
Like, dude, nobody's building up. Like, remember 2 years ago, you had Denny and Harvick win so many races that they built up so many points that they can
You have
kind of
that
cruise
cushion.
their way to the Final Four. And you're not having anybody do that. I mean, we're 12 races into the season. You don't have anyone building up these crazy amounts of points right now that's gonna really coast them through the playoffs.
No,
and that's the parity. That's the so many different stage winners this year than in the past. Usually every race, like last year, Denny Hamlin's winning, Truex is winning, Chase is winning, Harvick's winning. And it's like, okay, the same kind of drivers are winning these stages. This year, I think we're seeing just a lot more people winning stages and accumulating and stealing and spreading that point across the top 15 instead of normally the top 3.
Yeah, Whitey, was it you last week or 2 weeks ago, or maybe somebody on Sirius held up where we were
compared to last year,
where we were currently in the season compared to where we were last year, and like the points leader had 100 more points than where we are right now.
I forget the exact numbers, but yeah, if you compared this season to last season, and I don't know if it's still this far of a gap, but when I did check it, it was almost 100-point gap from first place this year compared to last year. Last year had 100 more points. And that it's just because all these points are just being spread out throughout the field. Like Eric said, just the parity of the league right now. Right now, Chase Elliott is your points leader at 453 points. You go back to second, William Byron, he's 65 points behind at 388. Ryan Blaney also 65 points behind at 388. Joey Logano 79 points at 374. Not a whole lot of margin in between those guys. Fifth and sixth are tied, 89 points behind. So as you get past second through sixth are separated by less than 30 points. It's really kind of crazy. And
that's a race.
Two of those positions are tied with each other. So it's absolutely insane how tight everything is. You know, you look at a guy like William Byron with 2 wins on the season, he's not on first. Ross Chastain, 2 wins on the season, and he's in 5th. That's how important, stage points are and everything, just accumulating everything as much as you can get.
You can watch a sport where the point standings is that damn close and each race is so goddamn exciting, or you can watch some sort of other version of racing where it's a status thing and you don't even care about the racing. It's just about how much money the person you're talking to has.
First and second is like a 10-second gap.
Right. Not calling any specific series out or anything. I'm just saying if there is a series out there like that.
Yeah, where the old joke is, who took turn 1 first on the first lap? Oh, that guy won. Yeah, I mean, you could watch people pass drivers and battle for the lead, or you could watch people drive around a street course. I don't know. That's up to you. I prefer to watch some passing and some battles. I wish I could have watched it on Fox instead of FS1.
Yeah.
Something else was on ABC. I don't know what that was about.
Pro bowling was on, and it's only the 58th ranked sport in the country as far as professional sports goes.
Well, no, it is the PBA playoffs, so I will give them that. But
I don't care.
But it was over by 3:00. We could have got that race, and I believe there was the movie of the week was on Fox as F1 was on ABC and NASCAR was on FS1. Don't know who made that decision, but
if Fox wants to have so much power where they're dictating starting times later in the afternoon and things like that, and dictating when there's a rain delay to have it be at noon the next day and whatnot. If they want that much power, then they need to be able to give the sport the main channel when they race. That's it. That's
So the only thing I could guess that happened, the only explanation for this, and it makes sense from a broadcasting standpoint. So Fox has affiliates, like here it's Fox 56, where you live, it might be Fox 11 or whatever. They have to have so many hours of their own programming so they could sell their own advertisements to their own programming. That's why we have like the local news at 10 and all that stuff. I just wonder, maybe Fox had it in a deal where these are the weeks coming up where the affiliates get to program the schedule to the way the affiliates want to. That's when they get their infomercials in, the paid programming. That all goes straight to those affiliates. That's how they make money. So I don't know if that's why NASCAR wasn't on main Fox and was on FS1. If maybe there was some sort of deal there with the affiliates. That's what I'm assuming happened. Was it a bad decision? I'm thinking it was, but who knows? We'll see when the ratings come out tomorrow compared to F1. But yeah, I mean, nothing we can do about it. We just gotta
wait a couple more weeks until NBC.
Wait a minute.
We just gotta power on.
I'm putting it on. I'm putting the tinfoil hat on.
Yeah.
Maybe Fox did it on purpose.
So they didn't have to compete with F1?
Not only that, maybe to say, hey, we're going to have our race on FS1 and we're still going to challenge for the same TV ratings as you guys on the main channel. Maybe they wanted to see how the main channel for F1 did against their secondary channel in FS1. Maybe it was a planned thing, an experiment.
I don't know if the numbers are out yet. They might be. I haven't had a chance to look at them. But if NASCAR still beat F1's numbers, they're never going to get beat out in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of, for anyone who doesn't know, there was a lot of hoopla about F1 because they're racing in America. They're racing in the Miami Grand Prix for the first time. It was a really big deal. It's all I saw on Twitter for a week leading up to it. So it was a huge deal. And F1's kind of going through a moment right now because they have a Netflix show.
Yeah.
And young kids are getting into it. They don't even know what they're watching, but it's a status thing at this point.
Yeah.
And so I'd be really interested to see where the numbers lined up. But I bet you NASCAR still put up a bigger number. It'll be a lot closer, though, than it usually is.
And if you want a plain colored hat with a Mercedes-Benz logo on it, you could spend $80 at your local F1 track. Anyways, I'm done with this. I'm done with it. Let's wrap it up. Let's move forward because we are heading to Kansas. And I hope Dorothy is safe in Kansas. Trucks are on track Saturday night, 8 p.m. on FS1 for the Heart of America 200. That's right. It's the Heart of America. NASCAR, baby. And then Cup on track Sunday, 3 p.m. on FS1 for the Advent Health 400 Xfinity off this weekend. And practice and qualifying Saturday night, 5 p.m. for Cup. Matt, do you have the numbers we need to make our picks?
Yes, I do. So I also have the head-to-head matchups this week as well. They have been posted, so we won't forget to do that.
Perfect.
So let me see really quick. I had numbers we needed.
Here we go. I've got to recap our picks from last week. Eric picked Eric Jones. He got you 20 points. I picked Kyle Busch, which was looking like a great pick for the win until he got wrecked out. He got me 11 points. And Matt picked Kevin Harvick, who came in fourth. He got you 33 points. So I will go first, Eric will go second, and Matt will go last for our picks at Kansas. Matt, give us those numbers, baby.
All right, so these lines are brought to you by DraftKings. And it is, again, it's Monday night, so these will most definitely change by the time the race starts on Sunday. But we've got a two-way tie for the 10th best odds with Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick at a plus 600.
Okay. Wow.
I really like both of those guys at a plus 600.
Wow.
Then you've got Ryan Blaney at a plus 1,400. You've got Joey Logano at a plus 1,200. Ross Chastain, Martin Truex Jr., and William Byron are all tied at a plus 1,000. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, we have, as of right now, a four-way tie for your favorite to win at Kansas, according to DraftKings. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott are all plus 700.
And I go first, and I am completely unprepared. As usual, I want to say that I want to stick in the Hendrick camp for this one. And let's see, I picked Byron 2 weeks ago. I don't want to use up another pick on Byron. Of course, if you're just listening for the first time, we're capping each of ourselves at 5 picks per driver. So I've already picked Byron. It's been a while since I picked Bowman, and I feel like I feel like you want to know what? I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. He won at Las Vegas. It's the last mile and a half we were at. I'm going with Kyle Larson for the win in Kansas. He's coming back from a last place finish last week, and he's getting a first place finish this week.
Whitey, thank you for changing last second, because my gut from the beginning of this show went Alex Bowman for me. And when you almost picked him, I was like, oh my God.
Like, what am I going to do?
It's just one of those races where, like, Bowman's, he's okay, solid, had a bad day. It just seems like a Bowman type of weekend where it's like you're not there's some drama going on amongst his teammates and going on here. And it just seems like this is a weekend where Alex Bowman's going to come in. The race isn't going to be great. It's going to be a bland race. And Bowman's just going to win it. Alex Bowman.
Justin Pierce, I love you, bud. I don't want to say that. I don't want this to come off the wrong way because Alex Bowman is your driver. But kind of like what Eric said, like when I think Kansas, I really don't think about anything. Kansas is one of those meh tracks, and I feel like Bowman's just gonna meh his way into a win. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be an anticlimactic race in Kansas. I hope it's not. I hope it's super exciting. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be one of those days.
I want to get all of us on the old HMS freight train, but I cannot.
Okay,
You guys gave me a layup. I appreciate it. I'll thank you after he wins the race. After he always throws a temper tantrum, after he always has a bad week and there's bad publicity about him, he comes back and he proves the haters wrong. Kyle Busch is going to win at Kansas.
Is he running the truck race this weekend?
No, he's not.
I was going to say, if he's running the truck race, then it's a lock. Yeah. I think that's a good pick. I think that's a really good pick, KFB. So yeah, I like it. I like all of our picks. I think they're all legit.
Yeah. Well, I didn't pick Alex Bowman yet, and that was surprised me because I am an Alex Bowman fan.
Yeah.
So that kind of persuaded me as well. Right in the beginning of the show, I kind of knew that's where I was going. So Whitey, you made me nervous as soon as you brought him up.
No, all right, Matt. Let's get to those head-to-heads. Let's see who's up on the old block against each other.
All right, let's finish this one out strong, boys. So the first head-to-head, really interesting. Eric with an E versus Eric with an A. Eric Jones versus Eric Almirola. Eric Jones, the slight favorite at a -125 to Eric Almirola's -105. I'm taking Eric Jones here. He's been running really well. He's gotten a rough go of things with where he's been finishing, but I think he deserves better. He deserved better this week. I'm going Eric Jones.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, Eric Almirola's been running well. It's actually a pretty good matchup. Even this past weekend, Eric Almirola ran a real good race. But Eric Jones, I got to go with my hometown guy.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up Eric Almirola's stats really quick because I feel like he is running really well. 6th place at California, 6th place at Las Vegas. I feel like those are really the only close enough tracks to compare Kansas to. But he is kind of fallen off, and I feel like Eric Jones is on a hot streak right now. Yeah. And I think Petty's going to bring a fast car to Kansas, so I'm going Eric Jones.
It's all about momentum.
That is a really good matchup, though. That's a really hard one to pick.
Yeah, it is. So is this one, especially because, of course, you knew it was coming. William Byron versus Joey Logano. William Byron, the slight favorite at -120 to Joey Logano's -110. William Byron has a chip on his shoulder. I think Hendrick Motorsports has been stronger than Penske. I'm going William Byron.
How about you, Eric?
I'm going to switch it up here, and I'm going to go with the 22. I'm staying on this weird week of mine here where we're kind of defending and kind of going along with the Logano train here. And one thing that I noticed with Joey, once he does get a win, he kind of turns his whole entire season around, and he catches fire. So I'm going to go with the 22 here.
Before practice this week in Darlington, I was avoiding Ford altogether for the weekend in fantasy. I was not expecting a whole lot out of Ford, and I'm still not. I feel like they had a good weekend in Darlington. I don't see Logano having a good week in Kansas, though. He didn't do really great in Las Vegas or Auto Club this year. So I have to go against him. I'm going William Byron.
All right. Next one is Tyler Reddick versus Kevin Harvick. Another really interesting matchup. Two guys who are consistent. Two guys who are coming off of top 5 finishes. Tyler Reddick, the slight favorite at a -125 to Harvick's -105. I'm going Harvick here. He's been so consistent. It is nothing against Reddick whatsoever. Harvick's just finds himself, he's just floats around, and then towards the end of the race, he finds himself in the top 10. He's just there. So I'm going Harvick.
Yeah, I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to go Harvick as well. It seems like when Reddick has a good, top 5, top 3 finish, he follows that up with a DNF, a 23rd, and a mechanical issue, or he's in the grass. So I'm going to stay away from Reddick after a good finish this past week.
This is tough because I was looking at Reddick's numbers at Kansas. In fact, earlier today I texted you guys. I go, can you rip the fence at Kansas?
Yeah,
I knew that's why you were asking.
Right.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I look forward to Kansas and Reddick every year because his second ever start part-time 2019, he got his first top 10 at Kansas in his second start. He got a 9th place finish. The last year at Kansas, he got a top 10. But then every other time he gets, a 20th place finish, 23rd, 25th, something around there. So really don't have a lot of confidence in Tyler Reddick going into the weekend. But like I said, don't have a whole lot of confidence in Ford right now either. Kevin Harvick being the shining example. Man, this is a battle. I'm going Tyler Reddick though. I think I think we're gonna bring a fast piece. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what Randall can do this week.
All right, final one, and then we'll get everyone out of here for the week. It is Kyle Larson versus Denny Hamlin. Two buddies off the racetrack. It's getting late in the night. Kyle Larson is the slight favorite at a -120 to Denny's -110. Both had awful performances, but both have also been strong. They just haven't had those finishes. Denny is bit with a really, really bad bug right now. So I'm going with Larson. He's going to rebound, and he's going to have a good day on Sunday.
Yeah, Denny's got a lot of shit going on with 2311. They haven't been running well. They're struggling. Toyota's been struggling. Not necessarily with performance during the race. It's just bad luck. They're having a lot of terrible luck. So I'm going to go with the 5 as well.
Yeah, even though Kyle Larson, like we said just a minute ago, he's been having an up and down season. I think he's had 6 DNFs. I picked him to win, and I'm picking him over Denny Hamlin. I think his dominance last year was at 1.5-mile tracks, and I feel like we're going to see one of those types of performances this weekend out of Larson. So yeah, I have to push the show forward. I forgot. So yeah, those are our picks. We are 12 races in. We have 10 different winners. Of course, Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, William Byron has 2 wins. Ross Chastain has 2 wins. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano all have locked themselves into the playoffs. 10 different winners. We only have 6 playoff spots left. It is getting tight, and we are only about a third away through the season, only halfway through the regular season. It is getting really exciting. I can't wait to see this playoff picture start to really form. But we are heading to Kansas this Sunday, 3 p.m. on FS1 for the Advent Health 400. Who will it be? Will it be KFB after a disappointing day in Darlington? Will it be Alex Bowman sneaking off with another win? Or will it be Kyle Larson redeeming himself at a 1.5-mile track? We'll find out this Sunday, 3 p.m. on FS1, and we will break it all down for you Monday night right here on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The Bump and Run.
There it is.